Welcome back to my channel. I am back with another review, so if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed to my channel. I appreciate you all, and let's just get right into this review. So this episode picks up where the last one left off, where Natalie and the OGs end up arriving to the new baddies house in Chicago, and Natalie decides that because the new girls have not shown up to the house yet, that she was going to play a Bad Girls Club style prank on them by switching the names on the room doors. So she was putting people together in a room who she knows don't like each other. So she ended up putting Lex's name on the door that had Ivori's name on it to make it seem like they had to room together. Now, there were other girls around when this happened, but Natalie was ultimately the only one who ended up switching the names. So when the new girls show up, Ivori goes upstairs and she sees that Lex's name is on the door. So she takes it down and she kind of starts going off a little bit because she doesn't know why they're playing this type of joke on her. So she starts going off, and Jayla goes up there and tries to calm the situation down and tells Ivori that they were just joking around and it was just a prank. But Ivori did not want to hear it, and she was still really upset. So Ahna ended up trying to calm her down by telling her that it was actually her that moved the names on the door when it was actually Natalie that did it, which I thought it was kind of weird that, Ahna decided to take the blame for something she didn't do. But Lex was in the room with Ivori saying that she wasn't leaving and that she had no problem sharing a room even though they don't get along with each other, and Ivori was not having it at all. So when Lex said that she was not leaving, Ivori threw her hands up and she was ready to fight. So Lex and Ivori start fighting with each other, and look, a lot of people are debating about who won this fight. Some people are saying it's a tie, some people say that Lex won, and other people say that Ivori won. When I watched the fight in slow motion, Lex definitely got more hits in than Ivori did because she definitely had Ivori in a headlock, and so she was punching her directly in the face while Ivori was trying to hit Lex. She was hitting Lex in the back of the head, so I'm gonna give it to Lex. However, when they got on the floor, Ivori was definitely getting some hits in on Lex, and she even kicked her at the end. So if you wanted to call it a tie, I wouldn't argue with you about that, because to me it could be considered a tie, because when they were standing up, I think Lex was winning the fight, and then when they got on the floor, Ivori was able to kind of take over a little bit because she was the one on top. So I would definitely say that it could be a tie, but when they were standing up, I definitely saw that Lex was getting more hits in than Ivori. And look, I'm sorry, I don't really like Summer that much because she's kind of annoying and she keeps picking at Jasmine. However, the way that she was gassing up Lex's head was funny to me because she was telling her that she looked great and it didn't look like she was even in a fight. And it's true. After the first fight between Lex and Ivori, Lex looked like she wasn't even in a fight despite the fact that she had her wig ripped off. Other than that, she didn't look like she was even touched, but Ivori's face was kind of messed up a little bit. I'm sorry. Her eye was kind of swollen, like above her eye was swollen. She had a black eye, and then she had like this redness all over her face. So she definitely got touched by Lex. So after the first round, Ivori gets taken out of the room and she goes downstairs and she's going off, and she grabs some ice to ice her eye down, and she goes into the room with the OGs and she's going off, claiming that her eye was already black, so Lex didn't do anything to her. And it's like, no, girl. Her eye was definitely black because of Lex. The first time her eye was black because of Lex, and then the second time her eye was black again because of Lex, and then her eye was swollen at the top and her face was all red. So Lex definitely was connecting those hits on her face. I don't know why she was trying to deny it, because it was very clear that she definitely was in a fight. So she starts yelling for them to get her a band-aid to cover her eye, and then she said that she wanted to fight Lex again. So Lex ends up coming back downstairs and they square up to fight again. Now they both start swinging on each other, and then security ends up grabbing Lex, so Ivori was definitely able to get the last hit in this round. However, the fight was really short the second round, and they only fought for a couple of seconds before security broke it up. Then Ivori and Lex end up fighting again, and this time they're squaring up with each other, and Lex is connecting the hits directly into Ivori's face, and even the other girls in the background couldn't deny that Lex was definitely landing all of her hits. And I'm sorry, but I usually like Ahna, but this season I'm not really feeling her too much, because to me she's just running her mouth a little bit too much for me. Because during the fight between Ivori and Lex was sitting over there connecting all of her hits to Ivori, and Ivori was missing, yet Ahna was in the background saying, yeah, Ivori, you're minking her, when she literally was not. Like, everybody could literally see Lex hitting her in the face and all the hits were connecting. And Lex said something that was true in her confessional. She said that whenever she fights Ivori, Ivori fights with her head down, so she's not even looking where she's swinging at. And so they ended up showing a slow motion of this fight between Ivori and Lex, and you can see Ivori swinging very blindly and not connecting any hits, and her eyes are closed and her head is down, and you see Lex with her head up and her eyes wide open, connecting all these hits to Ivori's face. Ivori definitely fights with her head down and her eyes closed, and that's not a good way to fight. That's the same way that Diamond be fighting. That's why she loses a lot of her fights. So when that fight gets broken up, Ivori and Lex end up fighting again because Ivori just won't stop fighting Lex. So they start fighting again with each other, and again Lex is connecting all of her hits, but then she ends up falling backwards on the couch, and that's when Ivori was kind of able to take over that fight. And she was definitely getting hits in on Lex when Lex fell backwards in the chair. I won't deny that she definitely was hitting Lex in the face when she fell backwards. However, Lex never stopped swinging even when she fell backwards, so she was still hitting Ivori at the same time that Ivori was hitting her. So when they fell on the couch, I could definitely say that Ivori took that over a little bit, but Lex was still swinging. And after this fight, Ivori and Lex get put into two separate rooms, and they're yelling at each other from different rooms, and Ivori is claiming that Lex got stomped out and all this mess, and it's like, no, you definitely kicked her a couple of times when she was on the floor, but you didn't stomp her out. Like, you didn't win the fights. Like, and I'm not even biased because I don't know Lex or Ivori except for watching them on this show. I don't have any biases because I never watched them on any other show. I didn't follow them before this, so I have no biases. However, I watched each fight that they had in slow motion, and so to me, after what I saw, Lex definitely won the fights. Did Ivori get some hits in? Yes, she did, but she did not win those fights. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion, and that's just is what it is. I don't dislike Ivori. I'm just saying she did not win. And I truly believe that that's the reason why Ivori keeps wanting to fight Lex, because she's not winning the fights against Lex. If she was beating up Lex and she was really demolishing her in those fights, I guarantee you she would not care to fight her again this many times. But because she's not winning, that's the reason why she keeps wanting to fight her, because when she fought Jayla, she didn't fight her again after that. Any other girl that she fought, she didn't fight them again after that on this show. I don't know how she was on other shows. I'm talking about this one specifically. She keeps wanting to fight Lex because she's not winning. And when Ivori is brought into another room, that's when Lex and Ahna start arguing with each other, because Lex is telling them that they should not have, switch the names on the doors because they caused more drama than it should have been. And Ahna was saying that it was just a joke. And she basically said that Lex shouldn't have started trouble with Ivori in the first place, and that their fight stemmed from something other than their names being put on the door. Now look, Lex did not start the drama with Ivori. Ivori is the one that started with Lex in the very first episode. I think she thought that Lex was an easy target because she was sitting on the bus quiet and she's just a pretty girl, and she probably thought that she could not fight. But then when she fought her, she realized she could, and that's the reason why she keeps wanting to fight her. And I know what people are gonna say. They're gonna say, well, Ivori ended up doing a live stream and she said that they had slept in those rooms the previous night and they refilmed the scene to make it look like they were just showing up to the house. So Lex already knew that that wasn't her room. Okay, but Ahna let it slip in the episode that they just did not only switch Ivori and Lex's rooms, but they also switched Summer and Jasmine's rooms as well. But they didn't make a big deal about it. Ivori made this situation into a bigger deal than it actually needed to be. And to be honest with you, if the other girls left and came back and the names were switched, then they wanted the drama. So even if Lex was doing too much by saying that she wasn't leaving the room, I do feel like, it wasn't that big of a deal that it needed to turn into a huge fight. They never would have lasted on the Bad Girls Club, because something like this happens all the time on the Bad Girls Club. That's why I don't think Natalie thought it was going to be as big of an issue as it was. She probably thought that they would argue about it a little bit, but I don't think she thought it was going to be as huge as it turned out to be in this episode. But Ahna and Lex are arguing, and Lex starts yelling, telling Ahna that her mouth is too big for her size. And that's the truth, because last season when Kiva wanted to fight Ahna, everybody was saying that she couldn't fight her because there was too much of a size difference. But Ahna has a really big mouth, and she's always talking shit, and she's always involving herself in stuff that doesn't have anything to do with her. So if somebody bigger than her wants to fight her because she was running her mouth to them, then they should be able to fight her, and she should be able to back it up on her own without anybody else getting involved. Now, I kind of wish Lex would have swung on Ahna. I'm sorry, I do like Ahna, but in this episode I was not feeling her, and I kind of wish that Lex would have swung on her. I mean, Lex did not end up putting her hands on Ahna, but Ahna kind of deserved it, and she was kind of asking for it because of the things that she was saying to Lex. Like, she was really coming for Lex, calling her all types of names, and basically saying that she wanted to be the OG's friend so bad. Well, they make it seem like if you're a new girl, you have to kiss their ass in order to be their friend and to be on the show. So, I mean, if she is trying to be cool with the OGs, that's not a big deal, right? Because they only only like the girls that want to be friends with them. Like, if you don't befriend the OGs, you don't end up getting a baddies chain and you don't get to come on for another season. So while Lex and Ahna are going back and forth with each other, Diamond decides that she's going to go ahead and fight Pretty P, like she promised Pretty P that she would fight her, because she said in the previous episode that she could not do it because her neck was hurt. So I'm guessing that her neck felt better. But the two of them start fighting with each other, and look, it was a tie the first round. It definitely was a tie. They were both swinging on each other at the same speed. However, they were definitely kind of slap boxing a little bit. If you slow the fight down, you can see that both of them are swinging with their hands open. So they're like slap boxing each other, which I was kind of confused about. Then Diamond and Pretty P end up fighting a second round, and look, Pretty P definitely won this second round because, like Ivori, Diamond fights with her head down, so she's not even looking at where she's swinging, and so it gives the other person an advantage because you're swinging blindly and they're looking right at you, so they know where to swing to hit you, and your head's down with your eyes closed trying not to get hit, so you can't see where you're swinging, so you're losing the fight. So Pretty P definitely won that fight. So Natalie ends up telling everybody that they need to calm down and that she has something to say, and she ends up telling them that originally they were going to get rid of either Emma or Jasmine because the girls were saying that those were the two that were kind of not really bringing anything to this season, but she decided after talking to some of the OGs that they were going to keep both girls because they don't think that it's right to send them home, which I agree with. I don't think they should send any of the new girls home because I think they should be able to have a full season. I'm sorry. I think they should be able to get a full season to at least get their names out there and let us see what they're all about instead of getting rid of them after a few episodes. I really don't like the idea of that. And if they get rid of most or all of the new girls, then we just have a season full of OGs, which I'm not really finding entertaining because I'm kind of annoyed by the OGs this season. So yeah, I'm glad that they decided to keep all of the new girls. But Natalie ends up handing Scotty a box with a baddies chain in it, and she says that there's 2 chains in there and that there's 2 girls that she wants to give a chain to, and she said that she wanted to give the chains to both Lex and Jasmine. Now, Jasmine ended up surprising everybody when she thanked them for, wanting to give her a baddies chain, but saying that she felt like Pretty P was being overlooked and that she actually deserved the chain more. Now, some people were saying that it was stupid of Jasmine to say that, Pretty P should have got the chain instead of her, but I actually think that it was a good thing because I do think that Pretty P should get a chain before Jasmine does. However, I didn't like the way that the girls handled it after she said that. Because Rollie ends up hopping up out of her seat like she runs something, telling Jasmine that she don't need to get a chain then at all if she's sitting over there trying to give her chain to somebody else. And I don't understand why Rollie thinks that she has any authority. Like, she's not the executive producer. She's not a producer. She's nothing. She's just a cast member. So I don't understand why she gets these privileges where she can act like she runs things when she doesn't. And then Scotty really got on my nerves because she said that because Jasmine proved that she's a girl's girl and she's a baddie all the way around, she decided to give her the chain and told Lex that she wasn't getting one, which really pissed me off. And Lex was shocked. Like, her face looked extremely shocked because she should have been the one to get the chain instead of Jasmine then, because Jasmine was trying to give her chain away to somebody else. And Lex should have been had her chain. So I was confused by that as well. It's making me feel like they're playing in Lex's face just because they like Ivori or they're scared of Ivori, so they don't want to do anything in favor of Lex. So that's the reason why they didn't give her the chain, which was confusing to me and was stupid to me. So I can understand why Lex was upset. And then Jayla, with her fake ass, ends up going up to Jasmine and telling her that she's the real baddie because she dresses like one, she looks like one, and she doesn't do too much in order to be a baddie. And it's like, girl, y'all be kicking people off the show when they don't act like a baddie enough. When they don't do enough and they don't fight enough and they don't put attention on themselves enough, you guys say they're boring. That's why they're sitting over there saying that Emma's boring and that she should go home. I was confused as to how now all of a sudden they're kissing Jasmine's ass when at the end of last week's episode they were contemplating sending her home. So that was just really confusing to me, and it made it seem like they were just doing that to kind of piss off Lex. So when they put the chain on Jasmine's neck, Summer starts going off because number one, she already doesn't like Jasmine, and number two, she felt like Lex was the one that should have got the chain. Now, I agree with her that Lex should have been the one to get the chain, but I don't agree with Summer running up on Jasmine and snatching the chain off her neck because I feel like Summer should get a baddie's chain as well, and now I feel like they're going to make her wait longer to get one because of what she just did to Jasmine, because they're going to see her as a hater for that. But Jasmine and Summer start fighting with each other. The chain gets ripped off of Jasmine's neck. It was just crazy. So after the whole chain debacle, everybody's upstairs in their rooms getting ready to go to the club later that night. And Tinkerbella is up there gassing up Ivory as if she really did some damage to Lex when she absolutely did not. And I honestly feel like the OGs are scared of Ivory. That's the reason why they gas her up. That's the reason why they never check her when she does anything wrong or when she says anything crazy to any of them, because they want to stay on her good side, because they don't want to have to fight her. That's what it's giving. Honestly, the only OG that I'm feeling this season is Diamond the Body, because to me, she's the only one standing on business. I mean, she goes upstairs in this episode and she tells Lex that she's the one that should have got the baddies chain because she was fighting, she did her big one, and Jasmine was just about to go home, and Jasmine was, not wanting to accept the baddies chain, so Lex should have gotten one. And she understands what Lex feels, because last season they gave Meatball the chain instead of Diamond, and now this season they decided to give Diamond her baddies chain finally, when Diamond should have had one last season instead of Meatball. So I like Diamond the Body. I definitely feel like she's a real one. She's funny, she's entertaining, and she's the only baddie this season that's an OG that I actually like. So because Natalie ends up allowing Rollie to run things sometimes, which I don't understand why, because she's just a regular cast member like everybody else, Natalie tells Rollie that she has to meet up with Slim and let Slim know what her decision is on whether or not she gets to be on the show or not. So Slim and Rollie meet up with each other, and I was kind of annoyed at Slim because I do like Slim. I do like her. But I don't like that she allows Rollie to talk to her any kind of way, and that she really wants to be Rollie's friend, and she keeps apologizing, because Rollie already said that she's not accepting the apology. And honestly, Slim is owed an apology too from Rollie, but Rollie says she's not giving it to her. So I honestly wish that Slim would have stood up and she would have just walked away, but she didn't. And Rollie ends up telling her that if she wants to be on the show, the only way she can stay on the show is if she's her assistant. Now, obviously, Slim was definitely hesitant and she was confused as to why Rollie was doing this to her, but she ultimately ended up accepting the offer. Now, she probably really needs the money, and that's the reason why she's agreeing to do it. However, I don't feel like she should have to do that to be on the show. She's an OG just like Rollie is. They were on the same season for the first time, and I don't understand why Rollie is allowed to be on the show, but Slim isn't. And you can't say it's because Slim put her hands on Natalie, because Rollie put her hands on Natalie multiple times too and went live and was dragging Natalie a few times as well. So that's not the reason. I don't think that Rollie should have the authority to say whether somebody gets to stay or go. Now, they all end up getting on the Baddies bus together despite all the fighting and drama that happened in the episode to go to a club booking. And basically, when they got on the bus, Diamond the Body actually ended up saying that she apologizes to Arkbar, and Arkbar ends up accepting the apology and they hug it out. And she explains why, she said what she said to Biggie, and why she had a problem with Diamond was because she felt like Diamond put a battery in Biggie's back for them to go back and forth with each other. I'm glad they were able to squash their beef. I don't think their beef was really anything big anyway. So I thought it was really mature of the two of them to both apologize. Rollie needs to take notes, and they were able to move on. But while they're on the bus on the way to the club, Ivory says that she wants to know who put the names on the doors because she wants to fight the person that did it. She says she doesn't want to fight the people that were there watching it happen. She wants to fight the person that actually put the name on the door. So Natalie is sitting in her seat and she's smiling, and she says that it was all of them that did it. But Ivory was not buying it. She said that one person is the one that actually taped the names on the door. So Natalie actually did say that she was the one that did it. Now, Ivory was not really believing Natalie. She was saying that because Natalie's the executive producer, that's why she's taking the blame, but she wants to know who actually did it when Natalie is actually the one that did it, and she just told you that she did it. So I don't know if Ivory just doesn't want to hit Natalie, because if she hits Natalie, she won't be on the show. I don't know. I think that Ivory's making a big deal out of it for no reason. Honestly, if anything, Ivory and Lex should have put their differences aside, and they should have went after the people that put the names on the door. That's what they should have done, but they didn't. They decided to fight each other instead. But at this point, Ivory starts talking shit to Ivory, who's on the back of the bus, and she ends up taking her drink and tossing it to the back of the bus at Lex. Now, Lex said that she was going to keep her cool because they were on a tight little small bus, and then they had to go to a club booking, and she didn't want to mess up the booking. But she said that after the club, she's definitely fighting her again. So we know that the drama between the two of them is not going to stop. Now, they end up going to the club, and Sydney Star is there because obviously they're in Chicago, and Sydney Star has been showing up to everywhere that they go. That's what they claim. They claim that Sydney shows up everywhere they are. Natalie wasn't really paying too much attention to Sydney. Dolly was standing up on a platform, though, at the club at one point, and I think the DJ called Tinkerbella up. So Tinkerbella goes up there, and she kind of knocks Dolly off the platform, and Dolly falls. I don't know what happens after that. I don't know if Dolly actually got hurt because they didn't really address it after that, but that was a little bit crazy. So those are my thoughts on this week's episode of Baddies Midwest. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button for me. I appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed to my channel. I appreciate you all. And until next time, I will talk to you guys in my next video.